This is my introduction to Delta Math by Trudy Haas. So the URL is just www.deltamath.com. This website is free for both students and teachers. It does require a device and Wi-Fi. So as a teacher, you would click on the For Teachers in Schools, and that'll lead you through the steps to register for Delta Math. And the first thing you'll want to do is set up classes. So you're first going to go to the Tools drop-down menu, and you're going to select Manage Students and Classes. And then you're going to select Add a New Class. You'll want to give the class a name and then click Confirm. And then it'll generate a class code for the students, and there's a link that you can copy and then share with your students either through your learning management system or through email. And so this is what students will get when they click on the link. And so this student I made up, and it's got her email already and her name, and she just needs to go ahead and create the account. And so then you'll want to set up assignments. So the students can't see anything until you've actually created an assignment. So you first click the Create drop-down menu and create a standard assignment. So you'll first want to give your assignment a name, and then select the classes, and then if desired, change when it's going to get posted. And you don't want to create the assignment until you do the skills and the due dates also. So you need to do all those tabs at the top first. So for the skills, they're color-coded based on which part of math they're coming from. So if you just want to do geometry, you can select that. And then I think this was the pre-algebra part. And so you are going to click on whatever skill you want to look at. You select the category, and then you can see the types of problems the students are going to have if you click on the name of the skill. And if you want to add that to your assignment, you click on this plus sign, and you can add multiple skills if you want to. And you define how many problems the student has to answer right before they have completed the assignment. You can also determine whether or not you want a penalty for wrong answers. And then you can also add a due date. And then you can also specify if you want a certain percent taken off for late assignments. One great feature is the option to be able to see things as the student does. So in this sample student page view, you can see what the student would be seeing. So this student that I made up, they have gotten 2 of the assignments complete. So if you see this little clock, it means that was a timed assignment. So I specified how many questions the student had to get right in a certain amount of time. The check mark means that they just had to get a certain number of questions correct. And then these question marks mean the student hasn't done these activities yet. So this was a screen that was allowing me to see what kind of questions my students were going to get for this skill, see what they're seeing from their end. They do have the option to, if they don't know how to do it, see the solution, but it tells them before they can go all the way on that they are going to get the question counted wrong if they ask to see the solution. But a better option is to go ahead and see an example. So it will explain a similar problem, lead them through the steps, and then they can try to apply it to this problem before going ahead and seeing the answer. I like the data collection feature on this. So under the drop-down bar for student data, you can view assignments, you can view problem logs, you can view students' last actions. And so this was an assignment list, and it asks you, or it tells you can click here to see assignment data. And then this was also one of the views letting me see how the student did. So this was a timed activity, and it's telling me that it took her 30.8 seconds to get all of the questions right. And this is the student log showing me where Judy Hoff was having some trouble. And so you can actually click on this skill and it'll show you exactly which questions she missed and what she had trouble with. As far as uses, I think this is good in the fact that you can pick from a variety of different math topics that students need to practice. You can specify how many problems you want them to get correct, because maybe they only need to show you that they can do 10 correctly, and for one kid that may be they only have to do 10 problems, and another kid that means that they have to do 20 questions before they get 10 of them right. As far as Bloom's taxonomy, I think it depends on the type of problem, but it can also be the remember, where they're recalling their math facts. It could be the understand level, if they're having to classify their different geometric shapes. It can be the apply level, where they're having to solve or they're having to sketch a situation. On SAMR, I felt like this was the augmentation level of SAMR because it's better than a worksheet. They're getting immediate feedback about whether or not they are correct and giving them help on how to do the problem correctly.